Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back to the Windsor Time podcast. I think you'll notice here pretty quickly we're not in our normal studio, but we are joined by a podcast alum.
Yes.
Matthew Means is back on.
What's up? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man.
Yeah.
We're kind of like matching.
We are. So you can see I've got the sweatshirt up here. He's got the pants down there.
Shout out to Tom Brown and Tabor family.
Absolutely. You know? So. We're just hanging out. We're at one of the Carolina Watch Club meetups, and we thought we would break out the kit and see what we could do. So Matt actually just sat down and was going to tell me about a watch that he mentioned in his podcast that I have not got to see in person yet.
Yes.
So tell us what is on your wrist and show the camera over here. So just kind of...
Yeah, so I'll show the camera here.
Is that where, roughly there? There we go.
Okay, there we
go.
go.
Just real natural.
Just real natural.
Yeah.
Super natural.
Yeah.
You know, no Photoshop, no filters.
No filters.
No nothing. Yeah.
Never.
We don't have budget for that.
I would like if we could have a filter.
Yeah, so.
Okay, so you have your root beer on.
Root beer on.
Can I see it?
Yeah, absolutely. Sure.
And it's funny because from that angle, it reminds me of my date justs.
Yes.
Because like this is all the same, but then you get to here, and it's not my date just.
It's a little bit different.
So that has this been redone, the bracelet?
It hasn't been redone. The guy never wore it.
I was gonna say because mine has a good amount of droop, but if you can see on that, I mean that is just that is spectacular.
We even have the sticker underneath the back, man. It's unreal.
Yeah. Very cool. And I think this piece, kind of try to get under there, this piece came from Mr. Charles, correct? Did he source it?
That piece didn't come from Charles. That piece came from another kind of guy that's in the Porsche world as well.
Okay,
and
nice.
So,
Very cool.
I was lucky to get linked up with him with another gentleman.
Yeah.
And he had two of them. Had that particular watch on Oyster.
Yeah.
And that one on Jubilee. For me, the Jubilee
is
signifies like the
killer.
1980s Rolex in all its glory.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
It feels like something Tom Selleck would wear if he wasn't wearing his Pepsi.
Very cool. I mean, this is honestly, we're a step up, from Mr. Selleck there in that regard. So, very cool.
Oh, I wish. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool, man. Well, thank you for showing us what's on your wrist.
Thanks so much.
You get back to the.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure.
Always good, man. Tell the people who you are.
How's it going, team?
This is Michael. What have you got on there? Oh, you have something different. So we have two things here. We did
a swap.
A piece that you are very fond of and want someday from Nate Show, who you guys will remember. And then you have one of your pieces as well. So go ahead and show this camera over here. Do like a little
the
thing there.
16570, the Explorer to the previous generation to the current iteration, the 216-570.
Yeah.
Just an all-around great watch, man. This
is.
One's been. I've probably talked to every club member about this watch every day since I joined the club 4 or 5 years ago. So it's very frustrating that I don't have one yet, but it's always great to see them.
Well, and we were just talking off camera, so we are the same age, and when we were both graduating from college, I don't know about you, but I had that in my sights, and at $4,000, it was just too much money. I didn't have it, and now looking back, I'm like, you idiot. You should have put all of your savings into that watch and picked it up, because now there's $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, which is wild. But he's got, I think that's a deluxe strap. Is that a deluxe strap? I think it is. Yeah, blue camo, very cool.
Yeah, very, very great. Nate's got an absolutely excellent taste in straps, and you're seeing that here firsthand.
Yeah.
I never would have put this on a blue leather strap, nonetheless a camo.
It works though.
But it works surprisingly well. So I just need to take a note out of that playbook.
I'm not sure, and I assume we'll have him back on in a second. I don't know if he even has the bracelet to that watch, because I just see it on a different strap every single time.
That's right. I've never seen him with the bracelet. So
yeah. Very cool.
Tough.
So tell us about your watch. This was similar vein, your first Rolex.
That's right, yeah.
In a really cool piece.
Yeah, so this one is the 124300, the Oyster Perpetual 41 millimeter, and this one's got a special place in my heart. Obviously great marketers over in Geneva, but I grew up always wanting to buy a Rolex, and when the time finally came, I found out that my wife and I were going to have a baby. We found out it was a boy. And after calling everybody in the family and being so excited, the next call was to our pal Ben. And I'm really excited that it worked out. And I'm really grateful. You know, there's always a little bit of a wait with these types of things, but it almost just lets the excitement build and makes you appreciate it all the more. So I've really enjoyed that.
That's awesome, man. And that hasn't even really come off the bracelet yet. That has just been solely on, it has not come off the bracelet. We're one beer in, not that many.
Yeah, just the one.
So that hasn't come off the bracelet. I think that would be really cool on a NATO strap as well. I don't know if that's crossed your mind. Is that the 21 millimeter lugs?
It's 21. Same
as my Submariner. Incredibly annoying.
Yeah. Not great. Cool. What I need is I need probably another beer or two, or maybe 3, to actually build up the courage to be able to want to take the bracelet off of it.
Yeah.
A lot of it right now is hesitation. You know, you don't want to mess something up. You don't want to break it. You don't want to hurt it in any way. But it would look great on a NATO. I feel like it'd be a really good shot. So
we've had a bit of a fumble, but it's recording now. I don't know how long. Nice. Yeah, you should. It's funny, after like 1 or 2 drinks, we're doing lots of fun shots. After a couple of drinks, I feel like it's always easier to pull off the bracelet when you're a little more, daring, if you will.
Right, because at the end of the day, I mean, they're watches, right? Watches are to be worn. This isn't going into MoMA anytime soon or whatnot. You know, it's for me. And at the end of the day, if you nick it up a little bit, it's totally fine. The first one does sting, right? That one that was grabbing a metal ladder out of the backyard, and I'll never forget that. But now that the Band-Aid's already started peeling off, we might as well rip it, right? Change the strap, and maybe next time I come talk to you on the podcast, we'll have it on a NATO.
There you go. Yeah, we'll have to have you on for a full episode at some point soon. So anyway, cool deal, man. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Get back and find someone else to come on.
All right, sounds good.
That's your challenge. Yeah. And it is loud in here. We're doing the best we can. So you'll see me kind of moving the mic around a little bit. But hopefully should be kind of fun. I don't know. We'll see. But my co-host is over there at the bar and is making his way over very slowly from the bar right now. And Mr. Benjamin Simon.
Hi.
You want to do the intro again?
Should we?
No.
I'm sure you guys have rocked and roll with it.
Yeah,
so.
Matthew means... Yeah, he brought us in. So tell us, what are you wearing today?
I am wearing...
On the wrist.
I am wearing... it's funny, I was thinking on our channel I do this in a more formal way, but I'm wearing a JLC Reverso. So a duo-face Reverso that is kind of like a dark gray Ardois dial on one side. And then on the other side, it's this really special, at least special to me, what we would call a salmon dial. It's like rose opaline, but salmon dial guilloche, so a hand guilloche dial.
It's killer.
And it is a duo face, so you can track 2 time zones if you want to. I have them synced up right now.
Nice.
And it's white gold, so it's just kind of a sleeper.
Yeah.
I like it. It's
so I think when this comes out, he will be in Geneva. So for your trip, are you wearing that watch? Are you wearing a Patek? What is the vibe?
I'm taking a couple of watches. I'm taking a Rolex. I'm taking a Patek Philippe.
Nice.
I'm taking this watch, and I will probably take a Tudor as well. So I'm taking a couple of watches, but I also don't want to go too. It's not like we have a lot of meetings over there, and we have a lot of back-to-back meetings on different days. So it's not like I'm going from meeting to meeting changing watches, but try to wear a different watch each day, and sort of the main brand we're meeting that day will wear that watch. And
that's what I was going to say.
Dinner, obviously, if I'm going to Patek Philippe dinner, I'm probably not going to be wearing my Reverso. I'm going to be wearing Patek Philippe.
So is that? I mean, you kind of just answered the question, but you do have to be Mr. Don Fortner. See you, buddy. Have a good one. Do you want to show us your watch real quick? Do you have 2 seconds? Come on for 2 seconds. Come on, sit down. Switch seats, and
we'll get back to me.
Yeah, Ben will be back in a moment. We have Don, who I wanted to get on, but he's leaving. You always do a nice, not Irish exit. But you are very determined, and we've stopped you, so thank you.
I have limited time.
Talk about this. Okay, 30 seconds. Tell us about this watch.
New Rolex Submariner. I'd always wanted an engraved watch for about 3 years.
Sure.
And kind of made a decision that I was going to have it done.
Yeah.
Found the right engraver.
Yeah.
Out of Texas.
Very cool.
And just took the leap. bought a new Submariner, had it
I love
disassembled, and had it sent off.
So did you wear that watch pre-engraving at all, or did you just immediately send it off?
Took it, had it disassembled,
Yeah.
and sent it to Texas.
How much do they disassemble? When you said, I mean, are they taking the movement out of the case? Or
Took
what?
the movement out of the case.
Okay.
The movement stays complete.
Gotcha.
The bezel off the watch.
Yeah.
And crystal. So
Okay.
you have in the
Oh, wow.
crown.
So
So
it's
you
just
have
the
the
metal.
case,
Yeah.
and then the bracelet is separated. So they do the bracelet and the case separate.
Okay. Very cool. I love it. Well,
Thank
I
you
know
much.
you're on your way out.
Yep.
You're a very determined guy, so
Thank you much.
I think you'd be fun to have on for a full episode. We'll see.
We'll do it one
You know,
day.
Absolutely.
Talk to
Sounds
you
good.
later. See ya.
We will now welcome Mr. Benjamin Simon back on the podcast.
I have returned. We
so-
do need to have Don on though.
We do.
He's the man.
He, all this stuff is unique. But what I wanted to ask, so you kind of mentioned it. If you are going to a Patek dinner, you want to wear a Patek. Is there any
Absolutely.
like faux pas, or has there been any kind of smart comments over the years? And maybe you can't answer that, but coming in wearing a different brand's watch at a show like that.
I think we're all pretty. I mean, I can't speak for everyone. I'm pretty dialed in where I'm like, okay, I'm not going to go into our Rolex meeting wearing. Maybe I'll roll into Rolex wearing a Tudor. And that's
Yeah.
great, but I'm not going to. Or Rolex meeting wearing a Patek Philippe.
Right.
There's mutual respect there. But if
Yeah.
I was wearing, I don't want to just throw out any other brand I throw out. It's just
Yeah,
like I'm
just don't say
belittling
the
it. But
brand.
another brand that's not Tudor or Patek Philippe is probably maybe not looked at equivalently. So.
Yeah.
But I do have a quick story, but
Yeah.
I almost want to save it for an
for a full episode.
actual episode involving a Patek Philippe at Watches and Wonders. But we'll get to that some other time. Hey, so cheers first of all.
Cheers, man.
So we have our friend and Carolina Watch Club member Pavan here. Pavan, what are you wearing today? This is kind of just a wrist check.
Hey, Ben, I've got my Vacheron Constantin blue dial that I just got after drooling over this one for many, many years.
Forgive me, is that steel or white gold? I have
This
no
is
idea.
steel.
That's steel.
Steel,
Cool.
yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. I
What
don't know
a
if you guys can
beauty.
see the reflection with the light here, but the best thing about this dial is the way it, reflects the light. I've had other pieces before, but once you get stuck on this blue one, man, it's just like
You're a blue guy too.
Yeah.
You love blue.
my car. I think the story. My wife, when I first met my wife, she goes, "You got good stuff in your house, but everything's blue." So, yeah.
Hey, if you like blue, you like blue. You
And I think
know,
the latest piece I got from you was also
blue.
blue.
Yes, it was. Yes, it
I'm
was.
consistent,
Cool.
pretty consistent.
Did you bring anything else out today, or is it one watch day?
It's
a
one
one
watch
watch
day.
for me too. So
Yeah, it's one watch day. I don't know, man. I love the club, and I see how the guys are so free with the watches. But I don't know, man. I just feel like bringing the whole thing out. It's just so. I know everybody's great, but it's just one watch.
we got Watches and Wonders coming up. Any predictions or any thoughts on what might come out, or anything you want to see?
Well, Ben. I mean, I've seen all the scoops so far. Rolex gonna totally change their lineup. Gonna have all these great sports watches. They're gonna be just cranked out to 10 billion watches a year. I mean, yeah. No more lines. I mean, yeah.
No more lines.
Yeah.
You never know.
No, like you and everybody else in this club, you see all the YouTubers. I think the best thing for me is just looking at everything on all the changes and trends, and knowing that what they released this year is going to be my watch wish list in 2025 or 2026. Because initially, everything is unobtainium.
It depends on the brand, depends on the model, and depends on what the world does too. It's
You're right.
we're coming off a couple of years that were just crazy, and I do think things have settled down where there's a little bit more of a sense of reality now. But
Okay.
we'll see.
It's funny what you mentioned about the world. Like I was at the BMW dealerships. I liked their new hats,
Yeah.
and that guy gave me. I said, "Yeah, I'll give you a new hat." Everything was in Russian, so I can see that BMW pulled out of Russia. So that's why they got those
Extra hats?
Yeah, because
We're not going to get into politics here, all right?
no, but I just stating it.
No, that's a good point.
stating
Yeah, things are shifting.
that.
and,
Yeah, because everybody's pulled out of Russia. So yeah. So what about you? When are you heading out to Switzerland?
I'm leaving Saturday night, so
Okay.
fly overnight, get to Geneva on Sunday, and the show starts Monday. So get a little settle-in day, and then a lot of meetings and such. So
So what about you? What's your expectations?
at this point, I'm kind of open-minded because there's a lot of, the mock-ups and the fakes and everything are so good. It's kind of hard to know what's reality and what's not anymore. So I'm kind of just going into it open-minded. But I think we'll know here before I even leave. We'll know what's coming out. I think things will be announced here in the next couple of days. So it's very exciting.
Yeah. No, I think, like I've seen your videos and we talk about the rabbit hole in this hobby. And it's like I've had this literally for 5 weeks, and I'm already thinking about what's next. So
sometimes it's the chase, as much as the things are unbelievable, the chase is important to us, or the seeking perfection,
Yep.
Cool, man.
Cool.
Well, find us someone else to jump in here. We're just doing a super casual wrist check, so no we do a real interview down the road.
All right. Well, I don't know as much as you guys know about watches, but
What are you talking about?
no, I know what I like, and my style is always kind of weird.
All right, so we got Josh here. Josh, tell us.
Let me get a good.
Tell us what you're wearing, man. Tell us what you're wearing.
So I've got
Beautiful watch.
my relatively new to me Czapek.
You gotta see the movement in that.
Oh yeah, the money shot's definitely on the backside, for sure.
And you just got this, correct?
Just got this.
Has a beautiful micro rotor. It's just an awesome design. Very low production too. We were discussing this prior to this video even starting. It's I think their pre-orders are out, backed up quite a few years at this point, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah, no, I feel this is the first watch that I ever got the call for. You know what I mean? Like everyone's like, oh, I waited on the list or whatever, but I wanted to. Last year was the first time I ever sold any watches because I was buying stuff I liked, but not really being intentional about things. So I had 4 or 5 watches that were basically, if you strip the brand off, they serve the same spot.
right, yeah, the same slot, yeah.
And one of my my salesperson at your place, she's like, well, you have to decide. And for me, it's moving parts. And if I could just get whatever watch I want, then you could do that. But one on my list is a rose gold, or I had the integrated bracelet. It's I would like that watch, but I don't know if I can even get that watch. So I wanted a square watch and a rose gold, and so I was like, well, maybe a Reverso is going to fill that slot.
Yep.
But then my wife wanted a tank, and she wanted that to be kind of like a couple's watch. So that went stainless.
That filled it.
So now there's a gap for the rose gold watch. So it's not a, I want this watch, and that
It's
watch.
not so linear.
Yeah, there's so many things, and then my 5146, I was on the list for I was waiting for a date, which may come and may not come. And when the deal on this other one came up, I'm like, oh my god, solid gold paddock
With an annual calendar.
with an annual calendar and a moon phase, and a Rolex. I love Rolex. And everyone talks about independence, and they're in fact an independent brand too, which is hilarious. But when that watch came up, I was like, oh my god, I got to get this. And it was one that kind of spoke to me. The only thing I don't love about that watch is my wife is petitioning very aggressively for that to be her watch. And because of the bracelet, that's not something you can just swap out.
I'm hearing a trend here where a lot of watches are becoming couples watches.
Yeah. Thankfully, my wife prefers fluffy guys, and she's beautiful. So our wrist sizes are vastly different. So that's a little bit hard.
Well, I don't think you're that fluffy, but
Well,
it's nice to be humble.
I'll tell you another kind of fun watch story. My bonus daughter is going to camp this summer, and she's like, well, we can't bring phones, so I'm gonna need a watch to tell time. And I was like, well, I've got one in my, it's not really expensive, but for my 15-year-old bonus son, I was like, I got one that was kind of set aside for him. So I wanted to be fair, and I was like, this is super sweet. I get to go get her a watch, and I'm gonna give him a watch.
Totally.
And they're not expensive, but they're cool, they're classic, they're kind of timeless looking. And both of them gave them to him at the same time. They're looking at it all the time. And my wife says it reminds her of when we were dating. There's a Wounded Warriors edition watch that I picked up on the way to pick her up from the date. And during the date, we went to just burgers and a concert. And she said, do you have to be somewhere? Do you have a date after this? What's going on? And I was like, well, I picked up a watch on the way
Just keep
here.
looking at my wrist.
Yeah, and I haven't got to spend any time with it. And I didn't want to be look at my fancy new material thing.
Yeah.
And she goes, the kids are just like that. Like, they can't stop looking at their watch because they think it's so cool. And she goes, and they love it because you picked it out for them as well. So I'm like, well, that's kind of cool. Now I'm bonding with her kids. So it's cool. The family genes are starting to get it. And that's just as fun for me to watch as it was when I got the call for this.
We'll get you back on here for a real interview at some point. We're just touching base with some people. So cheers.
Probably more of a face for radio than cheers, guys.
So you're on the podcast right now. We have my friend Kenneth.
Hello.
Kenneth? Ken? Do you ever go short to Ken?
I think on my emails of the people that I like, it's going to be Ken.
Okay.
But if I don't like you as much, it's Kenneth fan.
I'm getting a little anxiety. So can I say Ken? Can I say Kenneth? Okay, Ken. Awesome, man. Well, tell us about what do you have on the wrist today?
Actually, you're in for quite a treat. I posted this online for for the watch group to talk about.
Yeah.
But about 2 weeks ago, I was debating on whether or not trading a Rolex for a Grand Seiko. And this is the kind of conversation that happens.
I remember that popping up. Yeah.
Happens so often among watch nerds because Rolex is just one of those holy trinity of accessible watchmaking kind of watches.
Right.
And Grand Seiko is just for the nerds.
Yeah.
Obviously the choice was made. I traded a 610 5-digit Rolex Sub for this limited edition 2019
very cool
Grand Seiko.
Here you can even kind of just show that. Awesome. And this is on the Deluxe rubber strap, correct?
So Deluxe had it on this strap, and I could never fault it. There were so many things about this watch that spoke to me so correctly. To me, Grand Seiko is a dressmaking watch company, and so I love the way that they did the thinness of this being a spring drive, power reserve on the back.
Right.
And for me, knowing that, the first spring drives, they were like 4-hour power reserves. That's why they really do. They leave that the power reserve on the watch. It's a matter of pride for them to be able to get up to 3 days, 5 days.
Yeah.
But no, this is it. This is really cool for my super girly wrists. It
looks great.
Really
well, and I've considered, so I have the spring, obviously, the SPGA 413.
Yeah, sure.
And come summertime, having seen you do that, I'm like, oh, do I maybe want to throw it on rubber too?
Insanely comfortable. And I think one of my, I paid full price for this. Deluxe didn't sponsor me, but there's a small, right here, there's a small kind of roundness that's built into the rubber.
Absolutely.
That allows you to lay flat on the wrist and then hug around the curvature of the sides.
Nice.
And I actually, in the same position as you, sold my SPGA 413 because I had such a hard time pairing straps for it.
Right.
But you've done such a great job, and I think now that this has come out, it would be actually
awesome.
Dude,
so I want to tell a funny story. So we were at Petty Thieves Brewing 2 months ago, 3 months ago, whatever it was, and we were having a discussion about pink watches. And I had just gotten my Grand Seiko that has a very light pink dial. And to a group of, I don't know if you remember this or know where I'm going, to a group of them, they're talking about pink watches, and I said, oh yeah, I've always wanted one, that's why I got this. And I held it up, and in that lighting, it just looked white. So they all went dead silent, and they were like, yeah, Noah, like, cool, okay.
Yo, do we tell them? Like, just all say something?
Yeah, and nobody said anything. And then later on, I looked down at my wrist, and I was like, they probably think I'm an idiot. So that is one of my most fond memories with you, is you kind of just, you were so kind and, like, just let me, have my moment. But after which I realized, oh, yeah, it doesn't look pink at all. So...
In certain lightings, though, that's very, very dynamic.
It does. It absolutely does.
Well, no, I'm actually gonna grab a drink.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on.
Of course,
thank
you.
All
right, guys. Thank you.
So, Darren, what do you have on the wrist today?
So I'm rocking a Grand Seiko, the spring edition.
Very cool.
Cherry blossoms. I thought it was appropriate, given that the cherry blossoms are blooming all over Charlotte, and it's something I didn't realize about the city, that there are a lot of cherry blossom trees here, which is awesome.
Yeah. So funny enough, you've had that watch for how long now?
Maybe a little over a year.
So I saw, it was that 6 months ago that I tried yours on when I was trying to decide if I wanted to buy my own or not.
Right about.
And I think, you'd have like a 7-inch wrist, 6.8, something like that.
Right there.
I tried yours on and it fit perfectly. And that was part of the decision-making process, which is why these groups are great, because I feel like it's cool because you get to try on other people's stuff and all that. But show the camera over here, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's such a sort of like personality and sort of like fit piece to a watch. So there's a lot of watches that I like in theory, but then I try them on and sort of try and understand like how I feel with it on the wrist, and it doesn't really match. I don't know, something about what I'm trying to portray or whatever it is. And I know you think about style and presentation a lot.
Sure.
And a lot of that's just a manner of expression, right?
Yeah.
And if you care about expression and true expression, I think that's what's interesting about watches. So
absolutely.
Plenty of and I think that's the great thing about the group too.
Yeah.
That you can just try things on, and then things that like you couldn't necessarily otherwise get your hands on.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you're huge into Japan. You're going into Japan. Probably when this is coming out, you'll be either on a plane or over there already.
I'll be over there.
You are getting to tour the Grand Seiko factory. How pumped are you for that?
I'm super pumped. I think the thing I love about Japan is the level of care that they demonstrate for everything, and I think it's what I like about Grand Seiko is that it evokes that for me. So the fine details, the inspiration from nature, the like what they take from places. I think they really cherish that in the artistry of things, and we don't do that as much. I think our history is young by comparison. So you go to an old brewery here, it's 20 years old. You go to an old sake distillery, and I went to one in Kyoto where it was the 15th generation sake mess.
Yeah.
Right? So that there's this age to the craft, and I think a real like cherishing of craft itself that we don't have as much in America just because we're younger. So I'm excited to see that and see how they carry that through in Grand Seiko, and then it's in a beautiful place.
Are you going, so you mentioned distilleries a little bit, are you into Japanese whiskey? Gin they're getting into now as well.
I do love Japanese whiskey. I think the thing about whiskey that I like, and I love beer, obviously we're here at a great beer place, and that's great. You don't taste place as much for beer, so I think like for whiskeys, you can taste a Canadian, American, a Irish, and then a Japanese has its own profile that to me is in some way quintessentially Japanese.
Sure.
And that's super cool, I think, about the whiskey. I'm glad they're getting into that. So
that's awesome.
I haven't had much of the gin. I've had the Roku gin.
Yeah, I think that's what I had as well. That's what's commonly available.
It's just gotten crazy since it's gotten so popular. I remember when I moved back in 2017, it was $45 for a bottle of that Japanese Harmony, and now in the ABC, I think the last time I saw it, if you can even get it, it's like $140.
Yeah.
And that's a little custom.
Yeah, very cool.
But they do make great stuff.
So let's say someone's going to Japan for the first time. I know it's a broad question, but what's the one place, if they can go and visit and check out, outside of Grand Seiko? I think this audience would say they just want to go see Grand Seiko. But outside of that, what's the one place that you're going to recommend?
Kyoto. I think people tend to say you're going to spend 10 days. Especially if you're flying from the East Coast of the United States. It's going to take you 17 hours to get there.
Right.
You're going to have a lot of jet lag. Like, don't plan 5 days, right? You need a little time. I would say no more than 2 or 3 of those nights in Tokyo. I think people overdo Tokyo a little bit. And it's an amazing city.
Nice.
You know, you go to Shibuya Crossing, there's at rush hour 150,000 people in the middle of the street. Trains are on time. It's spotless. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
But old cities, Kyoto, the tradition, the culture, that I think is really what's special about Japan in particular.
Yeah.
So I would urge that as an experience and get out in nature a little bit. I mean, it's a lot of UNESCO World Heritage sites there. It's just a beautiful country to be in. So.
Very cool deal, man. Well, I'll let you get back to it, but cheers.
Cheers, Noah. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, been a pleasure. Do it again.
Awesome. We are here with podcast alum, and at least at the moment, currently the most viewed podcast guest on. Nate, how's it going, buddy?
Good.
This is the podcast. We're in the podcast now.
Bleep, bleep, bleep. No.
Yeah, no, you're good. So we are here, a few beers deep at this point. What have you got on your wrist today?
I have a Trilo. They're a French company, fairly young. I think only about 5 years old, or if not younger.
Yeah.
And what's cool about them is that they don't have any hands on the watch.
Yeah.
So kind of like a Resonance.
It doesn't.
Resonance?
Resonance?
I have no idea how to
That
say
sounds
that.
cool when you say
Again,
Resonance.
going back to our earlier conversation,
Yeah.
learning about all these brands online, reading about them, and never having a conversation about their names out loud, it's hard to know how to
Well, you
pronounce
just type it.
Exactly.
And then when somebody says it wrong, you
never
type
know.
out a mean comment saying
Exactly.
that they don't know what they're talking about.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
I will still say JLC is probably one of the harder ones.
Jaeger LeCoultre.
Yes.
Riego LeCoultre. You are in the South, as we
Depends
are.
where you are.
So is that like a pinkish dial? Is it a purple dial?
It is. So one of what is now a friend that I've made over Instagram through watches.
Yeah.
He bought it as a custom order, and then realized he had a lot of too many incomings.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I can help you with that
Is
because
this
I
our
like this
friend
pink.
that has all of the Czapeks and stuff?
No.
Oh, okay.
Somebody else that he was actually in, I believe, somewhere in Southeast Asia or Asia.
Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely not that guy. 100%.
It was also interesting because I had to ship it over and everything else, so that we addressed that. But
very cool.
And one of the cool things about it is the dial. The watch itself is all dial.
Yeah.
So they offer two sizes, 30 and a half and 40 and a half.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't know. I feel like in the medium space, like a 6 3/4 wrist,
Yeah.
I could go between the two of them. But
Sure.
I wanted to try the smaller size because it is all dial.
Yeah.
And I'm
It's awesome.
happy with it. So.
Yeah. Looks very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll let you get back.
Thank you
for coming on.
Thanks.
See you next time. And if you guys want to have Nate back on, you want to hear about some of his other watches and get a closer look, because we didn't get a lot of shots whenever you were on last time, but now we're doing more shots of the watches. Be sure to drop a comment below. Well, that was the episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it and got to meet some of our friends and see what one of the Watch Club meetups is all about. We talk about the Carolina Watch Club quite a bit. So we thought we would basically try to bring you guys to one. So as always, be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.